Hello and welcome to another episode of DBate, an original podcast by DAMAC Properties, where we are looking more into the real estate sector, but also the DAMAC group as a whole. My name is Nimi Mehta and I'm going to be your host this season. In previous episodes, we had an overview of the DAMAC legacy as we spoke to its leadership on its 40th anniversary. And today we branch out into tech, innovation, creativity, customer service, and so much more. Our guest today is none other than the Managing Director of Operations and Technology at DAMAC Properties, a man who wears multiple hats, takes on multiple roles. Please welcome to the podcast, Ali Sajwani. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm amazing. So happy to have you here, Ali. I'm so excited for this conversation. I'll tell you why, because I think it's so important for people to know where you are now in the present, but more than that, I think it's important for people to know how it all happened and where it came from originally. And your story is fascinating. You're very young. When I found out how old you were, I was shocked. But you actually started in the business world in DAMAC at the age of 13, I believe. So if you could please take me back to that. Where did it all start? What was your mindset like? And how ready were you to be part of a company like DAMAC?
So, we really grew up with it. So since we were kids, discussions at lunch, dinners was always around the business. Back when I was very young, it wasn't even property. Back then we had a catering company. Then my father was very much involved in investments, particularly in 1999, 2000. I remember in the tech boom that happened in the US, the tech boom and bust. My dad used to go to the US for 3 weeks at a time. And me and my sister, we used to have like the staircase in our house. And we used to sit downstairs just waiting for him to come back, like on the days when he's coming back. Especially my sister, she used to get very emotional. She was very close to him growing up. And again, whenever he'd come back, he'd get us some toys, but then he'd talk about the companies he's investing in and what's going on in the US at the time. When I was around 15, 16 is really when I started looking more at the property business with my dad. So we used to have, I remember, launches of our products every week in Medina Jumeirah. It was in the arena. And I used to give the speeches for those launches. But of course, it was more than just giving speeches. So I was expected to know the product, the prices, the price per square foot, how we differentiate in pricing between different views on the building. When I was even in the investment days, I remember I was given balance sheets of companies. And I was very young. I was maybe 12 or 13 back then. And I used to read those balance sheets. I used to understand return on equity, net margin, gross profit. So when I was in university and I went through those accounting and finance classes, it brought back memories for me. It was a breeze because I knew all of those terms at a very young age.
I'm fascinated by the dynamic at home because you have your father, you have your siblings, you work so closely with your sister as well. How was that as the eldest son as well? Did you feel pressure from a young age?
Yeah, so there was always the pressure where, you're the oldest, so you're kind of the test subject in a way. So I had it, of course, harder than my siblings. I remember till I was 18, I had a 10 p.m. curfew. So you could imagine my friends they would go out at 10 o'clock and I'm expected to be home at 10 o'clock. So that changed when I went to university. But it instilled a sense of responsibility in me. So today, my youngest brother, for example, Mehdi, he looks up to me as a father more than a brother. And we're very close due to that. Having said that, growing up, he would always tell me, listen, you might be the oldest, but that doesn't mean you can take things for granted. If you don't perform, you have 3 other siblings younger than you, then you can just live your life, but don't expect me to treat you different because you're the oldest. So it brings in that sense of the work ethic, where you have to keep performing or else just get brushed to the side.
Long debate as to whether millennials now have it easier with the world that we live in, social media, the way the world has developed, they have access, they have higher resources than we had growing up. What do you believe? Do you believe that, one day your son in the space that he'll be in and the roles that he'll be taking on would necessarily have it easier than you did?
I think it's not easier, but the way that people work is changing in a big way. If you look at the last 6 months, so ChatGPT, it caused this huge breakthrough. And we looked at it as soon as it came on. We're trying to implement it in DAMAC in a lot of our functions. And before you know, GPT-4 has launched, which is the next version. And I think the beta for GPT-5 is in 3 months again. So I don't think AI and technology is there to replace people's jobs. I think what people need to understand is it's going to make them perform more efficiently.
Absolutely, I think that's beautiful. So let's actually get into DAMAC a bit more, because I would love to know 40 years now, specifically with pretty much shaping the Dubai skyline. But now, since then, of course, since 40 years ago, so many other companies have popped up. So I would love to know from your point of view why DAMAC is different and differentiates from the others in the market.
It's because we are the most innovative real estate company, not just in the region, but maybe globally. If you look at the models we implemented in 2006, 2007, the first company to bring in the hotel apartment concept, where we sell you the apartment and then we manage it for you and give you the returns. We were the first people to bring in branded residences. We've always been innovative with the type of products we bring to market. In 2020, when we saw that the luxury market is picking up, 2021, after COVID, we launched Cavalli Tower. We were the first major launch in the last 3 years since then, since 2018 to 2021. We brought a beautiful product with these huge balconies, with these large infinity pools. So you're getting a villa in the sky. And after that, everyone copied us. So we tend to be the trendsetter in the market, and then everyone sort of follows suit. And I think that's what really sets us apart when it comes to the type of products we bring to market.
And it takes, being a pioneer in the industry takes a lot of risks. It takes not knowing if things are going to work or not. So where does that ethos and that mindset come from?
Definitely comes from my father. So, people think that, oh, he's chairman of a large group, he's 67 years old, he probably is not involved as much in the business. He's very much involved. He takes interest in the most detailed level, like you wouldn't even imagine. When it comes to the buildings, the apartment sizes, what is the view from the living room? Okay, when someone's sitting in his pool, what is he going to be looking at? What is the depth of the balcony? So he's very much detail oriented. And that's the key to his success. Till today, every product he looks at, every design he vets in detail, and we learn from him. And I think the management appreciates that, and they learn a lot from him. So I think that's really the key to our success.
I do feel as owners and leaders and, people who are running these big companies or small, whatever the scale is, there is this fear of letting go. I have this with my dad where he just has this fear, no, I have to do it. I'm like, Dad, you've been doing it long enough, chill. You hire people to do the work. Have you ever had this? Is this something that you struggle with at all?
So I used to say that when I started in 2014 out of university. I used to tell my dad that exact same statement.
Yeah.
Today, I'm very much opposed to it. In the same way he was opposed to it 9-10 years ago. You can delegate when you have a team who you can trust and who are willing to learn and operate in a similar fashion to you. So we have one of our key employees in the business. His name is Muhammad Tahaina. He's been with us for almost 20 years. He's one of those people we can delegate to and we trust because he works in a similar fashion to us. And as owners, we're more than happy to delegate, but when we have the right person in the right position.
How important is it to understand all aspects of the business? I feel like people maybe just stick to one department and just want to know that thorough in and out, which is amazing. But I think what you spoke about is multi-departments working together to ensure the ethos of the company it's running like a machine, like clockwork. So how important was it for you? I mean, you started young, but to know all departments, you said that, from a young age, you were looking at the balance sheets, you were doing this, you were giving presentations. For anyone listening right now, can you stress the importance of that?
The most important thing to succeed in any business is to know the details of your business and all the details of your business. So you need to go through, now if you're a founder or you have a startup, by nature, you're going to know the details of your business, or else you won't be successful. If you come into a position of senior management, it's very important to don't just deal with your N-1s, go all the way to your N-3s. You need to know what the people on the ground are actually going through. What are their struggles? What are their pain points? In our CRM department, for example, I took it over in 2021, and it's no secret, our CRM was a big, big problem. Today, I'm happy that our CSAT scores have come up to 4 out of 5. Our NPS is positive after it was negative for quite some time, but it's continuous development and continuous work. But the reason we're changing the entire software, telesales software of the whole company, is I called in one of the most junior employees, the actual guy who picks up the phone. And I called him to my office with the senior bosses and the managers all sitting there. And I told them, let's make a call to DAMAC, route it to him. I want to see what the process is. So when I saw him, he picks up the phone. He gets a pop-up from Salesforce. He gets another pop-up from Ameo, which was our call center platform. Then he doesn't know where to do the call disposition at the end. And they're not linked, so he has to go through 2 or 3 screens. And I was looking at him, I'm thinking, wow, how is this poor guy meant to function? And then the management comes up saying they're not performing, they're not closing the calls in time, they're not updating the dispositions. But I can guarantee you the guy's manager could not do the job that he's expecting his employee to do. So we said, okay, how can we fix this issue? So we went and we checked 6 global platforms, Genesys, Cisco, Avaya, etc. We do a technical evaluation. It took us 3 months. We showed the product demos to our team, juniors and seniors. We came to the final pick, and hopefully in 6 months, now the CRE agent, when he receives a call, he's going to have one screen that shows him all details of his customers. When was his last call? Was he happy or sad on his last call? How did he rate us on his last call? Who did he deal with? Today we track every single agent's performance based on the customer satisfaction. So, and it just keeps progressing. So it's about constantly learning from your employees, learning with the business, and focusing on growing and making it more efficient.
And speaking on a global scale, I mean, the UAE as a country, just attracting more and more people you saw how busy the last season was. The people here, the roads, people just want to be here. But more than that, people want to invest, right? Have you seen a trend or a different kind of want and need from international investors, particularly when it comes to real estate?
So the market has shifted in the past 2 years. The focus is definitely on a more luxury upper end of the market. And that's where we see huge demand. So you see villas now selling for 40, 50, 60 million dirhams. You have apartments, 4 or 5 bedrooms selling at 35, 40 million dirhams. That's not to say the mid-segment is not there, it still exists, but the big growth has come in really the luxury end of the market. And of course, we've catered our products to suit that need. DAMAC Bay, which we sold out on the day of the launch, 3 towers in Dubai Harbour, 400 units in each building, high ceilings, marble, top-end finishes. We sold that out in 2.5 hours, I believe. Cavalli Tower sold out. We have Cavalli Couture on Dubai Canal. It's probably our most premium product today. It's stunning. I mean, there's no product like that in Dubai. And we see that there's really very high demand on the luxury products. So, of course, we're sort of focusing mainly on that side of the market.
Interesting. And you know, I mentioned in my introduction, you're a man who wears many hats professionally. But I love to know on a personal level, what does Ali do when he's not working, which is probably a very rare thing to catch you. But when you're relaxing, when you're just enjoying me time or with your family, what is it that you're up to?
I love going to the beach.
Yeah.
And you know, you'd be surprised of how often I go. So I start my day early. I wake up at 5 a.m. I am in the office from 8:30 to 5. But then I make sure I go to the beach every day because the beach is literally 2 minutes from the office in Medina Jumeirah. And I go there every day from 5 to 6:30. And I have my swim in the sea. And then from 6:30, I pray, I leave. And then I have a meeting at 7 or a dinner meeting or whatever it is. And I get home by 9. But for me, that 1.5 hour where I go to the beach every day is very, very important because it just de-stresses me, relaxes me, gets rid of all the tension, and you perform better. I mean, I picked up this habit of going to the beach every day last year in September, and it's really made me much more relaxed, much more energetic. I don't feel lethargic. I don't feel tired from work. You know, I used to drink like 6 coffees a day. Now I have 1 coffee a day and I'm fine. And I think it's very important. You know, people talk about work-life balance. Yeah. And I think that's quite important to keep you happy because what do you work for at the end of the day? You work and you do all of this because you're looking for something that makes you happy in life. That's the key to everything. So if you're working and you're miserable, get a new job, change your profession, but don't live a miserable life.
I feel like we've come out of the generation of the hustle culture, where it's work 24/7. If you're sleeping, someone else is working. And I feel like we've shifted into a more wellness space, especially since the pandemic. People are more focused on their mental health. That is something that you focus on within DAMAC, within the culture, making sure that your teams are happy. How important is that for you? Because at the end of the day, it also creates great results.
It's probably one of the most important things when it comes to employee satisfaction. Look, if you're happy and you're coming to work motivated every day, you're going to perform better, whether you like it or not. Whereas if you're coming in just to clock in and clock out and punch in the hours, you're probably working at 30-40% of your productivity, which is not what we want. They used to call us, and they still do, DAMAC is like a school in real estate. If you look at the top brokerages in town, the top senior positions in our competitors, all of them have come from DAMAC. Until today, our team is the most in-demand team in the market because we push them hard. We make them work long hours. But what you learn in DAMAC in 1 year, I can guarantee you, no other real estate development company can teach you even in 5 years. Because there's such huge breadth to what you do. And that's what makes us special.
So let's talk about the future of DAMAC. What is your vision for DAMAC and where do we see it going in the next 5 to 10 years?
I mean, for us, Dubai will always be home. It'll always be our bread and butter. Today, we're in the top 2 when it comes to Dubai property developers. If you ask me, I think we should be number 1 for a good amount of time. That's my goal. And I think we take this from Sheikh Mohammed. He always strives to be number 1 in everything. Largest, biggest, number 1. And it's true. You'll remember who won the championship. You won't remember who came in second. And I think that's something very important to me. Always strive to be the top at what you do and don't accept second place. When it comes to international markets, we have a project coming up in Miami. We are already in Toronto. We have a 50-story tower which we handed over last year in London. Mandarin is coming up. I'd love to see us in global cities, whether it's New York, Hong Kong, Germany, California, Los Angeles. It's sort of like putting your flag in all these major cities, which I think is something which I would love to see down the road.
And I have no doubt it will happen. Ali, to put you under pressure, those are your professional goals for DAMAC, but tell me now for the future, what are your personal goals as Ali Sajwani?
Raise my son well, have more kids, inshallah. That's probably what I enjoy most, playing with him, and he comes in the morning to say good morning to me, So I think that's very important, to be a good father, probably most important. Actually, that's more important than my professional goals, to be a good father.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time. It's been a wonderful conversation. I hope you've enjoyed it. And thank you once again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.